What's up, everybody? It's Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey man, hope you're all having a great day today, and we're out here to do another video. And it's kind of funny, as I was actually watching some YouTube reels the other day. My buddy, What's the Point EDC, showed off a picture of the Sencut Waxahachie. I think I said that right, I'm not sure, but anyway, he did a whole little video or picture, not video, but he did a picture of the Sencut Waxahachie, and I went, you know what, I actually have that blade and I haven't done a video on it yet. So today, guys, that's what we're doing. We're going to do the Sencut Waxahachie. All right, so this thing is it's a affordable fixed blade EDC blade. As you can see here, this thing comes in a really nice Kydex sheath that's got multiple holes here for different mounting options. It does come with it's kind of like their version of a Tech Lock. Civivi's version of a Tech Lock. It kind of works the same. Kind of clip these two little buttons here, kind of opens and closes. You can also adjust this piece here for different belt sizes, if you will. So it's a really cool little belt system if you like to carry, you know, horizontally, or you can even actually turn it and carry scout style, or you can remove it all together and put whatever type of a blade carry system you want on here. But one of the other really cool things about this blade, well, it's not really, I always say it's one of those really cool things about the blade. It has a drainage hole here on the back. I know that sounded a little weird. Hey, that's a drainage hole, super cool. Well, it's, if you look at it, you can't see a drainage hole until you look right there. So there's a drainage hole. So, you know, if you wind up in the water or something like that, you do have a hole there where the water's going to drain out and not, you know, have a bunch of water sitting in your sheath. The sheath is very well made. There's like hardly any rattle or movement in the sheath at all. It's got a nice, kind of, not necessarily built-in thumb ramp, but with this nice rounding piece right here. You can easily push it off, bam, blade comes out. But here it is, guys, the Sencut Waxahachie. Check that bad boy out. Look at that. It's a very, very, very nice looking blade, and with this handle you can get a nice full grip on it. It did come with like a lanyard that was in here, but I actually ended up taking that off, and I think I put it on another blade. But it, you know, it does have a really nice lanyard hold there, as you can see. If you wanted to put another, leave the lanyard on there or put another one on there, but you can actually get a nice full-size grip. I wear XL gloves and mechanics gloves, so you can see there I can get a full grip on it. I can turn around, get my thumb over the top, get a nice reverse grip for, you know, any of those type of motions you got to do. But let's get into the specs here, and then we're going to move on over to the working area there, and we'll put this thing through its paces, because I haven't actually used it yet. So, you know, we're going to see how well it cuts and does on all the little EDC type of tasks that we could put it through. So the overall length on this bad boy is 7.88 inches. It has a width of 1.38. The blade length itself is 3.7. You have a handle length of 4.18 inches. The blade thickness is 0.14, so it's got a nice little sliciness to it. The handle thickness is 0.49. The weight on this is 4.42 ounces. Now, I'm not sure if that's just the knife weight or if that's including the sheath. That wasn't really kind of included on the specs. I really do need to buy a digital scale so I can check that stuff out. The blade still on this is 90 CR 10 MOV. It is a flat grind and has a Rockwell hardness of 58 to 60. Satin finish, clip point. This particular model has the G10 black handle scales, but you can get this in a natural and green micarta as well. Overall, guys, that's pretty much the specs on this bad boy. It does have some slight jimping right here. Has a nice kind of swedge slash, yeah, like a little swedge there coming down to that clip point. But guys, for an EDC blade, this thing's got a nice little weight to it. You could easily carry this thing around all day. I would even say you could even piggyback this onto a larger blade. Let's say you got like a big Work Tough Gear blade or something like that. You could actually probably piggyback this onto one of those sheaths or something like that, and then make a nice little, you know, outdoorsy woods package. But I know you guys want to see this blade in action, so we're going to go ahead and hit pause on the video. We're going to move on over to the working area, and we're going to put this knife through some paces, so stand by. All right, guys, we're back over here at the working area, as I like to call it, and man, I feel like it's been a long time since I've been over here to make a video. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm wearing a tank top here because it's stinking hot. It's like 100+ degrees right now. So if I start sweating profusely, please forgive me, but I'm filming this a little bit later today. It's a little bit cooler. I'm in the shade, but we're gonna get to it, baby. So here we go, the Sencut Waxahachie. So you know what, I want to show you guys. Nice clip retention, right? Bam, there it goes. Woo, see? Anyway, let's get to it. So let's jump right into what we normally jump into. Let's get into this rope. So this is a cotton rope I picked up at like Hobby Lobby or something like that. It's kind of bunched up right now. There's actually a zip tie on here, if you can see that. So we're just cut that zip tie off real quick. Not a problem. Okay, I'm gonna try to watch it with not a problem. I say that a lot. So got this nice kind of inch thick cotton rope. We're gonna cut through this, see how easily it cuts through. You know, because this is an EDC blade, right? Bam, right there. Cut through it, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, if you will. Got all these other little kind of smaller pieces. Let's take this and cut this. Cut right through it, easy peasy. Okay, I'm not gonna go from not a problem to easy peasy. I'm not gonna do it. My apologies. Anyway, here we have like about an inch thick kind of piece of that sisu style rope. Again, there's another zip tie on here, so we're gonna cut that off. And we're gonna bust this out. This stuff's a little bit rougher on a blade edge. You know, it's got a lot of fibrous materials to it, a little bit of some sort of an adhesive in there. It kind of helps hold it together. Let's fold it over, cut through it. All right, let's do a little saw cut. Cut through it, no problem. So there you go. I said it, no problem. Darn it. I swear, that's a bad habit. I got to break myself of it. So, up next we have this is kind of like a generic, really, it's not necessarily 550 cord. This actually has a kind of weird nylon type material inside of it, if you can see there. But it's kind of like 550 cord. But this is something that you'd carry around in your work truck or something like that. You got to, you know, do some loose straps or something. I barely even had to put any effort into what. Okay, look. Just gonna put it right here. Hardly any effort at all to cut that stuff. So if you had to cut some 550 cord, something like that for, you know, making up a shelter or something like that in the woods, you could do it, no problem. I said it again. Anyway, here is the 3/8 inch thick sisu rope. This is the really big, kind of fibrous, really hard to cut type stuff for a blade, but we're gonna set this bad boy down right here. We're gonna saw ourselves a chunk off like that. Not a problem. Really. Anyway, when you cut this stuff up, save it, because you can actually grind it up into the really fine fibers, and it makes a pretty darn good fire starter. So we'll set that off to the side, save it. So if you had to cut through some thicker sisu style rope, you could do it. This is that yellow poly rope. Let's see how well we cut through this stuff. Oh, slid right off. There you go. Cut through it. If you had to cut some of that stuff up to strap down some cargo or whatever, you definitely could. Right here, we have ourselves the old fire hose. This stuff is a pain in the ass to cut. It's 2 layers of canvas with a piece of rubber glued onto the inside. This stuff's made to go through a lot of wreckage and stuff like that. So it's very cut resistant, abrasion resistant, puncture resistant, if you will. So we're gonna go ahead and come right in here. We're gonna stab right through it. Look at that. Right into the stump. See there? Tip all the way through there. Wait, just cut right through that. Drive this through. Oh, got caught up on the sharpening choil there. Look at that. Cut through it very easily. Actually, that was actually really very easy. You'd be surprised at how hard that is to cut, and that was actually pretty darn easy to cut right there. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the old catalog stab test here. You see this about, what is that, a couple inches thick there, bunch of paper. We're gonna see how far we can stab in through this. Got my thumb over the top, like I said, so you can get that real good power hit right there, tip all the way through. Now I sometimes wonder, if I didn't have this stump here, like how much farther would this blade go through? Because I feel like I can get a lot of my blades to go all the way through with the tip, but I feel like it gets stopped because of the stump, and I feel like it could actually drive that through there a little farther. But I'm also kind of scared to hold the darn thing and stab it, because what if I accidentally slip or miss? But you know, we're gonna do it. All the way that, almost all the way through there. Right, I could barely feel the tip right there. So that's, you know, having that little extra backing behind it helps allow me to drive it a little bit deeper through. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, kind of the same situation. It went almost all the way through. Could barely feel the tip right there, but definitely get some good stabs in there on that. I think it's almost time for a new catalog, guys. So we have here, this is air compressor hose. This is a 3000 psi rated. It's a kind of a plasticky nylon reinforced hose. Stuff's, you know, pretty tough. Kind of a pain in the butt to cut, but we're gonna come in here and we're gonna do a little saw motion, cut a chunk off. If you had to cut this down the middle for whatever reason, set it here, press down, do a press cut, right in half. Guys, with this flat grind, this thing actually is cutting through stuff pretty easy. This is, sometimes whenever you funnel this hose over and try to cut it this way, it's a little difficult. So let's see, right there, cut right through it. Actually smacked myself with it. Sencut's really good, guys. This flat cut, this thing came with a really nice edge to it. Let's check this edge, because, you know, I know some people give this steel, this, what is this, 99 CR 18 MOV. Some people will say, oh, that's cheap steel or whatever, but so far this is holding an edge from the stuff I've cut, and I don't see any chipping or rolling on it, so that's a good thing. So here's a leather belt. Let's say I had to cut some hide or something up. Let's just come right here, do a little press cut, bam, cut that chunk of leather belt right off. Let's say I had to come in, stab it, draw it through. Look at it, split through that leather belt easily. So that's kind of like our little bit of our, you know, kind of rope cutting, kind of EDC type stuff that you would cut up. Let's jump into, here we go. So here is a wood dowel here, if you will. Let's see what kind of a fire stick or we can kind of make with this. So you had to come in here and do some feather sticking. Make some real nice little shaves and curls. Nice thing about this jimping on the back is it's actually kind of rounded a little bit, so it's very comfortable on the thumb as well. So I feel like if you had to sit here and really make a lot of this type of stuff, you could do it for a long time and not really eat your thumb up. Some knives, the jimping on the back is super aggressive, which is good for maximum grip, like if you're having to really stab and slash and cut stuff. But you know, sometimes if you've got to do a lot of fine work, it can really eat into your thumb. But check that out, look at that. Nice little fire curls. Let's say you want to come in here and it's already kind of in a steak shape, but we're gonna refine it a little bit. See those pieces easily shaving right off. So you know you got those vampire pigeons that fly around out there at night in the woods, right? You got to make yourself a little tent steak slash vampire pigeon steak. Maybe crackhead steak, you never know. Look at that. Make yourself a nice little pointy steak. Stick it into the ground. Let's make your little notch back here for your that you're going to attach your rope to. Almost couldn't think of what I was going to say there. So dig this in a little deep right here. That's what she said. Oh, got it in there, guys. Got it in there. So I'm going to shave into here. And then I'm going to go right over the top of this spot like that. I'm going to come right over the top here. I'm going to get my little baton stick. Do a little quick baton into there. Not all the way through, just a little bit. Just enough to... Now I'm kind of cranking on this, trying to get these little wood pieces out. There might be a better way to do this. I don't know. I'm not an expert at bushcrafting, so I never claim to be. So please keep that in mind. But I could do some simple stuff, I guess. But there, a nice little notch there. So you can stick this in the ground, tie your cord to it here, hold your tent in place. Then when you need it for that vampire, pull it out. There you go, good to go. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and, let's say I don't need this tore up piece here on the back. We're gonna go ahead and baton through that. Boop. There it is, look at that. Nice, clean baton through. Now really what I was wanting to do on that was check this edge. because it is a thinner edge profile, I really wanted to see if it was going to hold up, and it did. Look at that. You can see that? No chip or roll there. That held up really nicely through that. Now this isn't the toughest of wood, but you know, it's pretty hard on this edge, right? So step it up a notch. Here we got a piece of it's a piece of a 2x4. So we're gonna go ahead and put this right up here. Now what I typically recommend batoning with a knife this size, no. But if you're gonna invest your money in this, and this isn't a super expensive knife, it averages I think on 50 bucks, like on Amazon or something like that. If you hunt around, you might be able to find it cheaper. We're gonna spend that type of money on this, and this is the only knife you can afford. You definitely want to make sure it's going to last or hold up, right? And so that's why I'm doing this kind of extra hard testing on this style blade, because I want to make sure it's going to hold up if you invest your money in it, right? So you had to come in here, do some light splitting with it. It easily did it, and that edge is holding up. You can see it is definitely a thinner stock, right? So you got to kind of worry, like, well, man, if I had to baton through something with this, you know, for whatever reason, would it hold up to at least some light batoning? And as you can see, it is. So that's good. That's good to know, right? And that's why I do it. And let's say here's a piece of almond wood, right? Let's try doing some feather curls with this almond wood. Feather sticking, feather curls, if you will. You had to come in here, do some feather curls with this piece of wood. This stuff is really hard, guys. This is seasoned almond wood. Check it out. You can come in and do that. This stuff is not the easiest wood to cut when it's dried out, but we're able to come in here, fling off some pieces, not a problem. There we go with them, not a problem again. Let's see. There you go. So you could come in, make some feather sticks on some harder pieces of wood if you needed to. You could do it. Now, again, this is hardwood. You know what? Let's go ahead and take this up a notch, guys. Look at this right here. You can see where my finger is. That's a knot in this wood. You see it both sides. Right here. I'm going to put this right over the top of that knot, and stick was batoning through, and then it just broke. The stick did, not the knife. But again, I really wanted to see if it was going to do that edge. Pretty impressed, guys. Look, that edge is still perfectly fine. So let's up the game a little bit here, guys. We want to make sure, trying to find me a nice, there we go, piece of almond wood right here. Gonna come right here on the top. We're gonna baton through this hard piece of almond wood. I'm whacking right up here on the tip where it swedges. Just went through a knot. Just hit another knot. Right there, baton through. Check that edge. God, man, that edge is still there. It didn't chip it or anything. You can see right here is a knot that I baton through, and there was another one right here that it kind of went through as well. So, is it going to hold up to some batoning? Yeah. I mean, would I say sit here and go through a big 10-inch log? No, because you're not going to be able to do that. But what we are going to do next is we're going to take this bad boy right here, and we're going to do some stab testing, because we're going to test this tip out. That tip is still straight, and it's still sharp. It's still got a sharp tip to it. Check that out. You can see there. So I stabbed it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times into this board. Easily going into it. Let's do a little bow drill divot notch hole, if you will. This puts a lot of pressure on that tip. A lot of pressure on the edge right up there at the top. Just kind of spinning this around, drilling, cranking on it a little bit, you know. Yeah, that edge is still fine up there, and that tip is still sharp as well. You can see that right there. And right there is where I did it. Started drilling through there. It's not a big giant hole, as you can see, but again, the purpose of that wasn't necessarily to make a big giant hole. It was more to just kind of see, you know, what kind of damage might happen to the blade if you had to do that. So this could be construed as a, let's say it's a fireboard for doing a bow drill. Right here you got your tip of your edge of your board, gonna make a notch right here for your little embers to go through. I was able to easily kind of just stab this through there. Come in here, dig it out a little bit. So, got a little bit of a notch right there, right? You're gonna make your little bow drill spot right here. I could be doing this wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not, like I said, a bushcraft expert. This is just kind of some videos I've seen on YouTube and different things like that. I am a YouTube expert, if you will, if that makes sense. But, bam. So you can see, you'd be able to put your stick right there, put your paracord, come in, do your hard use right there, and maybe get your fire going. But let's, again, the purpose of doing that is more to test this edge tip, this edge and this tip, if you will, and it held up just fine. So, I mean, I don't know why I did that, I just kind of wanted to do it, but just kind of playing around here, guys, trying to see how good this is going to, oh, look at that, I'll just crack that off. Putting pressure on that edge. Look at that. Not a problem. Guys, the Sencut Waxahachie. Waxahachie, I believe, is a town in Texas, and I do believe one of my favorite meat seasonings, Meat Church, is from over there. So, Meat Church, if you ever watch these knife videos, shout out to you guys over there. And you know what? Shout out to Sencut, because this little Waxahachie fixed blade knife, pretty tough little guy. I think for your everyday carry type task, doing kind of simple stuff like cutting ropes, boxes, things like that, even doing some wood processing, I don't think you're really gonna have an issue doing it with this knife. And if you know you had to come in and do some crazy protect yourself, self-preservation type stuff, you know, this little bad boy can handle it right there as well, I believe. At least just to get you home or get you out of that situation. We don't really talk about that stuff too much on here because, one, I'm not an expert in it, and two, you know, YouTube and all those guys don't necessarily like self-preservation stuff. So, but if you had to use it for that, you could. So I think for just a general all-around EDC carry knife, man, I don't think you could really. This isn't a bad option at all, for especially for the price of it, what you're getting. Coming in, like I said, around $50. It's not a bad option at all. And I'm seriously, like, if you looked around, you might even be able to find this on sale somewhere for less than 50. And I would definitely recommend picking one up, even if it's just something you throw in your glove box of your car, just to have. It wouldn't be bad. Put it in a little go bag. It'd fit into like a fanny pack nicely. Maybe even have it in a med bag or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could use this knife for. You could definitely use it for food prep with that flat grind. You'd be able to come in and cut vegetables and everything like that really nicely. Use it as a steak knife, you know, at your local Outback, because they give you a cheap, half-assed rated one. You'd be sitting there cutting up your steak, people staring at you. But yeah, this is a good EDC blade, guys, for sure. So I would definitely recommend picking one up. Actually, I'm almost half tempted to go try to find one in that natural micarta. I think that would look really nice. So, guys, the Sencut Waxahachie, definitely worth looking into. I rambled on a little too long probably, but that's okay. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, stay sharp, and you know what, this summer, stay cool, because it's going to be a hot one. We'll see you next time.